Welcome back to F for Forensics. Thrilled you're joining us again as we navigate the digital world. Today, we're embarking on a very specific kind of deep dive. It's F is for forensic failures. What not to do. Think of it as, well, a cringe fest of cautionary tales, slip-ups, and lessons learned the hard way. Our mission today, really pull out the key insights from these real-world examples of, well, what not to do.
It's absolutely true. Sometimes the best teacher isn't, the perfect case study from a textbook. It's a massive mistake, and preferably one someone else made, right? Understanding these failures, really digging into what went wrong and why, it's just critical if you care about the integrity of digital investigation.
Yeah, whether you're a seasoned pro listening in or just really curious about how this all works.
Exactly. These lessons are pretty universal.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's kick it off with what we're calling the classic blunders. These are the sort of foundational mistakes that, honestly, it's surprising, but they trip up even experienced investigators sometimes. Mistake number one, and it's a biggie, working directly on the original evidence. I mean, no right blocker, no verified clone, just poking around on the real thing.
It is kind of astonishing how often this can still happen, even when people mean well. I've definitely heard stories and seen the results where maybe a technician opens up a suspect's laptop, plugs it straight into the lab network, and just starts browsing files.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The second you do that, the evidence isn't pristine anymore. It's changed, instantly altered. And its value, forensically speaking, can just plummet.
Right. If you're changing the original, that's not forensics. That's basically destroying the integrity of what you're trying to investigate.
Yeah.
It just undermines everything.
Exactly. Destruction is the right word.
And then there's classic mistake number two, failing to verify the hash. Now, maybe for folks who need a quick refresher or are maybe new to digital forensics, why is this such a deal breaker, such a non-negotiable step?
Absolutely. So think of a cryptographic hash, like a unique digital fingerprint for data. It's mathematically derived from the data itself. When you make a forensic image, like a perfect copy of a hard drive, you then calculate the hash value of that image. If that hash matches the hash calculated from the original drive, boom, you have cryptographic proof that your copy is exact, bit for bit.
Okay.
Without verifying that match, you have zero verifiable proof that your evidence image wasn't changed or maybe got corrupted during the copy process or even later on.
Right. I mean, imagine trying to present that in court. Well, Your Honor, I think it's probably accurate.
You'd be toast.
Exactly. Without that verifiable proof, the whole case built on that evidence, it could just crumble, dismissed, gone.
Instantly.
And finally, in our classic blunder section, let's talk logging errors. We've all seen notes, sure, but we mean the lack of really crucial stuff here, like proper timestamps, detailed notes, a clear chain of custody record.
Precisely. You need meticulous documentation from step one. Every single action, every tool you use, every observation you made. If your records are patchy or worse, they just don't exist for certain steps. That opens up a huge door for challenges later. It's the difference between, professional, defensible work and, like we sometimes joke,
A sticky note with a smiley face.
pretty much. A sticky note with a smiley face and maybe check drive C scribbled on it. That kind of lack of rigor, it just fundamentally undermines the integrity and, crucially, the admissibility of your evidence, which, as you said, is the whole point of doing forensics in the first place.
Okay. Wow. So if you thought those foundational slip-ups were bad, brace yourselves.
Yeah.
Because now we're diving into some really jaw-dropping anecdotes, specific blunders from actual cases. These are the kinds of stories that are basically nightmares for digital investigators. First up, the dreaded accidental overwrite.
Oh, this one it's just brutal. I heard about this truly devastating case where someone accidentally cloned their forensic image onto the original evidence drive.
Wait, onto the original.
Onto the original. Think about that. All the actual evidence data, gone. Instantly overwritten by the copy they thought they were making from it. It's just such a fundamental error, but the consequences are utterly catastrophic. Total data loss.
Oh, my God.
And look, I've had my own heart-stopping moments early on, thankfully not a full overwrite like that, but I nearly cloned the wrong drive once. Simple labeling mix-up. It really hammered home rule number 2, which we'll get to the hard way. That double-checking is everything.
It just sends shivers down my spine thinking about it. Okay, next up, the daylight savings disaster. Who would even think that time changes could completely derail an entire investigation?
It sounds almost funny, doesn't it? But it's a very real trap. I know of a case where a forensic team just carried it. They didn't account for daylight saving time adjustments properly. The result was that every single timestamp in their investigation was off by exactly 1 hour.
Every single one.
Every single one. So when you're trying to build this super precise timeline of events, file access, emails sent, logins having everything shifted by an hour, it just throws the entire case timeline into complete chaos. It's subtle, maybe, but the ripple effects are massive.
Wow. Okay. And then there's this one. Bringing a suspect's phone into the lab and forgetting the Faraday bag. The result, the suspect actually managed to remotely wipe the device while it was being examined.
Ouch.
That is, I mean, that's the definition of a rookie mistake, isn't it? But
Yeah.
the stakes are just incredibly high. A Faraday bag, for anyone listening, it basically creates a shield, blocks all wireless signals, cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, that prevents remote access, prevents remote wipes, stops new data potentially coming onto the phone. Forgetting that simple, critical step,
Yeah.
yeah, you can literally watch your evidence disappear right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things you learn once the hard way and you never forget again.
I can only imagine. Okay, and one more cringe story. Unwanted indexing. This one sounds sneaky because it happens quietly, right? In the background. Indeed. Very sneaky. An investigator basically forgot to turn off the Windows indexing service while they were analyzing a forensic image. So what happens is the operating system, trying to be helpful.
Right, like it always does.
Exactly. It automatically starts updating timestamps, specifically things like the last access time across the entire image as it indexes the files to make them searchable. But in forensics, those timestamps are absolutely critical evidence. They help build the timeline of activity.
So if it's changing those timestamps,
Oh, yeah.
that's almost like painting over fingerprints at a crime scene, isn't it?
That's a perfect analogy. Yes, it fundamentally compromises the integrity of what you're trying to reconstruct or prove.
Yeah.
It's a major alteration of the evidence, all because a seemingly harmless system process wasn't switched off or properly managed.
Okay, wow. All right, enough grimacing through those cautionary tales for a minute. Let's pivot. How do we avoid these kinds of disasters? What are the really practical safeguards our listeners can, put in place? How do we make sure they don't end up as the next anecdotal warning if the one else's talk?
Great question. Yeah, let's turn the cringe into concrete, actionable advice. Rule number 1, and this really should be etched in stone for digital forensics. Always image before analyzing. Always. You work on a verified bit-for-bit copy. Never, ever touch the original evidence directly for analysis. This hits that first classic blunder head-on.
Simple. But, as we saw, incredibly important and sometimes overlooked. Okay, rule number 2.
Double-check your target and source. This is absolutely vital before you start any kind of data transfer or cloning operation.
That accidental overwrite story really brings this home, doesn't it?
Precisely. That's exactly what happens when you don't meticulously check. Before you click Start or hit Enter on any imaging tool, visually confirm, maybe even triple confirm, which physical drive, which logical partition is your source evidence, and which one is your destination, your forensic drive. That single moment of careful verification can save you from, a potential career-ending mistake.
Okay, rule number 3. Label everything. And you mean everything, right?
Seriously. Everything. Cables, hard drives, SSDs, USB sticks, evidence bags, adapters. We sometimes joke, maybe even label yourself if you need to, when you're juggling multiple cases or devices. Clear, comprehensive labeling is just paramount. You think you'll remember what that unlabeled drive is for next week, next month, next year when it goes to court?
Probably not.
Definitely not. Proper labeling maintains that critical chain of custody and helps prevent those catastrophic mix-ups.
Makes sense. Rule number 4. Keep your lab isolated. This means what? No internet connection, no automatic OS updates running, no cloud sync tools active. Now, some might argue in today's connected world that complete isolation is maybe impractical or slows things down. What's the counter? Why is this air gap so non-negotiable?
That's a really excellent point, and it's a fair challenge. The world is connected. But the counter-argument is pretty straightforward. Isolation prevents any potential external interference or accidental changes to your evidence. Full stop. You simply don't want a background OS update suddenly deciding to modify system files on your evidence image. You don't want a cloud sync service trying to upload, or worse, download and alter files. You definitely don't want accidental malware infection from a network connection potentially messing with your data. From a legal standpoint, proving the integrity of that evidence becomes much, much harder if you can't confidently state it was kept in a sterile, controlled, isolated environment. The risks of connection in a forensic context just vastly outweigh any perceived convenience.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And finally, rule number 5. Document like your life depends on it.
Because, honestly, in forensics, your case certainly might. And maybe someone's freedom or livelihood, too. Exhaustive documentation is your absolute best friend, your shield, your armor. Every single step you take, every tool you use, every command you run, every setting you choose, every observation you make, it all needs to be meticulously recorded with the timestamps. Trust me, future you will be eternally grateful to past you when you're sitting on a witness stand, maybe months or even years later, trying to recall the exact reason you performed a specific action or made a particular decision. It needs to be in your notes.
It's really fascinating how these rules, which sound, pretty fundamental,
They are fundamental.
are so often the ones that get skipped or rushed, leading directly to those huge consequences we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. The fundamentals are fundamental for a very good reason. They are the absolute bedrock of integrity and defensibility in this field. Skipping them isn't just cutting corners. It can be completely devastating to the outcome.
So we've definitely had a few laughs, maybe a few nervous winces listening to these stories. But these cautionary tales, they really do embed some incredibly serious lessons, don't they?
They absolutely do. And let's be really clear here. Every single experienced investigator, myself included, has their own oops stories. Maybe not quite as dramatic as accidentally wiping the original evidence, hopefully. But we've all made mistakes. What truly matters isn't that the mistake happened, but how we actually learn from it, how we adapt, and how we grow from it.
Yeah, there's a sort of paradox there, isn't there? That failure can actually be a kind of feature, maybe, but only if it's properly documented, reviewed, and then used to change and improve procedures going forward.
Precisely. Think about it. Some of the most robust forensic tools and standard procedures we have today exist because of early failures. Like the initial, maybe less rigorous approaches to imaging led to the development of reliable write blockers and the absolute insistence on cryptographic hash verification.
Yeah.
It was those early, sometimes catastrophic failures with unverified evidence that really forced the digital forensics community to innovate and build in those safeguards. So that kind of failure is a feature, but only if it drives improvement.
Right.
So while a mistake can absolutely derail one specific case, which is terrible, it can also be that necessary catalyst that sparks the development of better, stronger procedures for everyone in the field. When something goes wrong, it forces you or the community to figure out why and then build defenses so it doesn't happen again. That's really how the whole discipline moves forward.
So the message is kind of embrace the lessons from the cringe. Use them to level up your own skills, your own processes whenever you're handling digital information. It's not about achieving perfection, maybe, but about that continuous improvement and constant vigilance.
Yeah. Exactly. Well said.
All right, that wraps up this particular deep dive into the world of digital forensic failures. We've unpacked those classic blunders, shared some truly memorable cautionary tales, but most importantly, hopefully, we've armed you with some really practical safeguards to help you avoid these pitfalls yourself. The value of learning from mistakes, especially, let's be honest, when they're someone else's, is just immeasurable.
And maybe just remember this one final thought. The only thing worse than making a forensic failure is repeating it. That continuous learning, that constant vigilance, those are your most powerful tools in this field that's always, always changing.
Couldn't agree more. Now, next time on F for Forensics, we're diving into a topic that falls on perfectly from today's discussion, actually. It's F is for footprints, tracing user activity across systems. How do we find out what someone actually did?
Yeah.
You are definitely not going to want to miss that exploration, so please be sure to subscribe, rate us if you like what you hear, and follow us on social media. We're at F for Forensics. That ensures you won't miss out on future knowledge shortcuts.
Stay curious. Stay careful.
Catch you next time.